Hey Fit Fam, Adrienne Dion here, and welcome to our Fit Lesson. Today's topic is all about how to ditch dairy for good. Dairy has been linked to a lot of issues, and so I'm really excited to be covering this topic because a lot of you guys have shared your struggle with trying to take it out of your diet. And so hopefully after tonight's lesson, it'll give you some confidence on how to actually start the process and be successful with this process. Now, a lot of you may be wondering, why should I even think about going dairy free? And as I've said, a lot of studies have shown that dairy is a conduit to a lot of issues. A lot of you guys may have dairy allergies. A lot of you guys may also be lactose intolerant. Let's just be honest, none of us are baby cows. So all of us are lactose intolerant. It's crazy because we are the only species that drink another mammal's milk. No other animals does that. So, and we're also the only species that the mammal still drinks milk at an adult stage. So that's just crazy in itself. So there's an answer to that question. Also, maybe you just may feel bloating or fatigue after consuming dairy. Your stomach hurts, or you may even have a lot of sinus infections. That has also been shown to be connected with consuming dairy. A lot of you probably have seen where some people have eczema or acne and they take dairy out of their diets and their skin clears up. So if you have any issues in that area, that may be a reason why. And for me, I've been vegan, which is I don't consume plant-based, animal products or dairy, which comes from animal products. But I've been a vegan for about 5 years now, almost 5 years. And the thing that really was crazy for me was that I used to have a lot of migraine headaches before. And now after taking dairy out, I don't have as many migraine issues that I had before. So if you're looking for any reasons to go dairy free, here's a huge list. So just maybe just trying it to see what effect it has on your body. Sometimes we don't even know the effect that it has on our bodies until we take it away and we can see how much better we feel. So those are some reasons you may want to try to go dairy free. The first tip I give anybody is to ease into it. You want to take this process slow. And one of the reasons is because if you go cold turkey and you take out dairy completely, you could experience dairy withdrawals. That is a real thing. And what that basically consists of is like not being able to sleep. You may also have, a lot more fatigue. So you're tired all the time, but you can't sleep. And the reason for this is because milk or dairy has a lot of the nutrients that our bodies like, right? So there's vitamin D, there's calcium, there's protein. And so when we take it out completely, our bodies go into a deficiency and it causes a lot of problems. It causes our bodies to not feel, better, but actually worse. So you want to kind of ease into this whole process, take it slow, and give yourself a lot of grace because this is something for a lot of people, a habit that you've been doing all your life. A lot of us have been drinking milk since we were babies, or we've been eating cheese on everything since we were little kids. And so you can't just break a habit that big that quick. So you want to give yourself grace, take it slow and ease into it because you don't want to relapse. I know it sounds like a crazy word, but you don't want to relapse and end up, going back and just feeling like you can never do it. So make sure that you ease into it. Number two is to find alternatives. Now, back in the day, this was really hard, but now the plant-based and vegan era, this whole trend is really big. So there's pretty much an alternative to everything. And so finding alternatives is really good because you need to have a convenient alternative or a planned meal ready so that you aren't caught unprepared. Like when you're trying to take it out of your diet, and you're like, I make all my meals with dairy, and now you don't have any alternatives and you trying to cook something, you're more than likely going to go back to old habits, and if you're not prepared for it. So make sure you look for substitution lists. There are a ton on Pinterest and Google. You can find them anywhere. I love Pinterest for this. When I first started, I just didn't know what to eat. So going on Pinterest, looking up dairy-free recipes. I would also look for, like, when I'm baking something, I would like not only just look for like dairy-free recipes, I would look for the like regular recipes, and then I would substitute the dairy for another substitution. So for example, when I was looking for like buttermilk or something like that, you can use soy milk and put I think lemon juice in it, and it gives it like that same texture and same taste. So you don't have to use buttermilk. But it's all about finding the resources, researching, making sure that you know the alternatives. You can, they're easy for you to find. And you can also look for products in your local grocery store. Like I said, the vegan thing is super big now. So I'm pretty sure you can find dairy-free yogurt, dairy-free cheese, dairy-free ice cream. It's so many things you can find just in your local grocery store. And we'll get into a little bit of that later in this lesson. But I just want you to know that don't think you're just gonna take it out and then don't replace it. You need to have alternatives, especially when you're just getting started, because it's like I said, a hard habit to break, and your body likes what it likes, right? It's crazy to me, also, that people aren't prepared. I'll never forget, I was at this, I think it was some type of retreat, wasn't a retreat or workshop, I should say. And I've been, like I said, vegan for about 5 years. So I'm always prepared because I know that everybody doesn't do the whole, vegan or plant-based thing. And there was this other lady there who, she was livid, you guys. They had breakfast. They supplied breakfast for everybody. And they didn't have like a dairy-free vegan option. She was like, this doesn't make sense and blah, blah, blah. And she ended up not being able to eat, and she was so pissed. Me, on the other hand, I had my little food with me. Like, I'm just like, you're the one with the special diet, so you shouldn't put that burden on somebody else. Make sure you have what you need. And my friends will tell you, my coworkers will tell you, I'm always prepared because I love to eat and I don't want to be hungry, and I can't just rely on somebody else to provide stuff because I have a special diet. You know what I'm saying? So always be prepared and you won't fail. Here are some of my favorite dairy-free items. Like I said, there are a lot of like these Pinterest lists where you can see like dairy alternatives. So instead of butter, use olive oil. You can use, instead of coffee cream, you can use a dairy-free soy or almond or coconut creams. They have a lot. One of my big ones is for eggs. I do like a flax egg, and basically you just use 1 tablespoon of ground flax meal and 2 and a half tablespoons of water, and let it sit for about 10 minutes. It has the same consistency of eggs, and you never taste a difference in the stuff when I'm baking or making something. So finding those lists on Pinterest and saving them will be super beneficial. I love ice cream. And so one of my favorites is Talenti, and they have about 2 or 3 different dairy-free. Peanut butter fudge is my favorite because it tastes like a Reese's, and I love Reese's. Haagen-Dazs is another brand that has a lot of dairy-free things, so you can definitely try them out. Don't try them out with like ice cream and then this stuff, because I mean your taste buds are tainted. So of course it's not gonna taste the same. But try it, separately. Also, I use tofu, the organic, extra firm. If I'm want to like make eggs, scramble eggs, it doesn't have like, it takes on whatever taste that you season it with. So it's really good. You can season it like an egg and have it for your tofu scrambles. I love silk milks. They have so many different kinds, the cashew, the coconut, and they taste really good. Now, I will say that if I'm going to make like a savory dish, I always use like soy products because it tastes most like milk. Then there's also the Earth Balance for butter. Trader Joe's has this really cool soy cheese blend that I love. And they also have this cashew fiesta dip. You can also find recipes to make like different cheeses and stuff, but your girl is not that domestic. So I'm buying the prepared stuff. And these are really good. Also, Miyoko's. This brand can do no harm in my eyes. You can find it at like Whole Foods. Um, where else? A lot of different places. You can also Google this stuff and find it, like go to their finding stores to see what stores have it near you. But they have like this cheese wheel that's like a chives, classic chives. When I tell you, honey, I can eat like the whole thing. It's really, really good. And then my favorite cheeses, like sliced cheese and shredded cheese, is by this brand called Good Planet. Y'all, it's so good. It like melts really good, like it's bomb. So here are my favorite dairy-free items. I'm just gonna say this: don't try any Daya cheeses. That brand is trash to me. Some people may like it, but I don't. Anyway, it's trash. So don't try that. Take my advice. But these are some of my favorites. Now, with it being so many alternatives, I want to remind you guys that there are some brands, because the FDA is sneaky, that will hide dairy sources within the food. And some of the common terms are like casein, whey. A lot of those are in like the protein bars. They'll even go as far as to say vegan or dairy free, but still have this stuff in here. And I'm just like, how are they passing these tests? Obviously, there are no tests. But anyway, lactose, all of these words on this list are dairy. So just be aware of that. And I say that not to like overwhelm you, but I want you to know that this is possible. So read every ingredient on the label. I just noticed I put ready every ingredient on the label. Read every ingredient on the label to make sure that they don't have dairy and they haven't used like hidden dairy words to get you. Again, give yourself grace. I want you to know that this is out here, but don't focus on this. I don't want you guys to focus on all the foods you can't eat anymore, because that's like a surefire way for you to give up on this whole process. I want you to think about you feeding your body, your temple, with the best stuff that you love and it loves you back. Sometimes we can eat stuff and just because we like it doesn't mean it likes us. So, or that our body likes it. So focus on all of the great things you're going to get from eating food that is not harming you. The third thing you can do is go for whole foods, not chemicals. So basically, just because it's vegan, that doesn't mean that it's healthy. And I had to learn this the hard way, because it was crazy. When I first went vegan, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to be fine. People be losing weight, blah, blah, blah. Tell me why I gained like 10 pounds. And it was because I was eating vegan junk food, a bunch of processed stuff, a bunch of carbs, and it wasn't good for me. So just know that if something says plant-based or vegan, that doesn't mean that it's healthy. You need to read the ingredient list. My rule is 5 or less is best. If it has 5 ingredients or less, then I'm cool with it. I can eat this. If it has like ingredients I can't even pronounce, it ain't for my body. You know what I'm saying? So just make sure you're going for whole foods. We want to feed our bodies with the best stuff. So that's really, really important in reading that ingredient list. Also, remember that chemicals react. They're reacting to our bodies. And so be careful about what you're putting on the inside. A lot of the mock meats, when it comes to like vegan and plant-based stuff, has gluten in it, and that can cause a lot of issues too. So just be aware of that. I'm not saying that you can't eat the vegan ice cream all the time or all these vegan cheeses and stuff like that. I'm just saying use it in moderation. I use vegan junk food as cheats. So you should do the same. Always trying to go for the whole foods and not the chemicals. And the last tip about taking dairy out of your diet, going dairy free, is to listen to your body. This is super important, you guys. It's a process. It can take 10 days to 3 weeks to eliminate dairy from your body. So when you're trying to do this whole process, allow yourself at least 2 to 3 weeks to evaluate the results of taking dairy out of your diet. You should feel better. You should feel free from all of those problematic, symptoms that you were having before. You should feel like you have a lot of energy. If not, that means something is off, something is wrong. Um, so always remember, if something is off, your body will likely cue you. Listen to your body. And from what I've seen, when people try to take the dairy out and they're like, I don't feel any better, I actually feel worse. It's because they're not replacing those missing nutrients back into their body. So make sure that you're making up for the missing nutrients you were getting from the dairy, the B12, the calcium, the protein, the vitamin D. And I want to go over some ways you can do that. Here are some dairy-free sources of calcium. You want to introduce these foods into your diet so that your body does not experience a deficiency. Collard greens, without all that oil and hog mog and all that stuff, the turkey necks, they're really good for calcium. Sesame seeds, spinach, avocado, okra, white beans are really, really, really good. Salmon, black eyed peas, broccoli, almonds, kale, any dark leafy green is really good for calcium. So when you're taking dairy out, you want to make sure that you're implementing these foods so that your body is still getting that calcium. The other thing that people say you need dairy for is the protein, other than the calcium. There are a lot of dairy-free sources for protein. A lot of people love to ask me like, oh, you're vegan. Oh, where do you get your protein? I'm like, the same place that the animals get their protein, grass. You know what I'm saying? Leaves, vegetables. You can get it from peas, tofu, tempeh. All kinds of beans have really good protein sources. Seitan, quinoa, broccoli, here again. Those leafy greens, they have protein in them. Edamame is a really good bean. If you guys ever go to the Cheesecake Factory, they have those like as an appetizer. Get some. They're really, really good. All nuts and nuts and nut butters really have a good source of protein. So it's not something that you can't do. You can do it, but you just need to go through the right process, making sure you're easing into it, making sure as you're taking out the dairy, you're replacing it with things that have the nutrients that dairy has. You want to make sure that you always have alternatives, available and plan meals so that you're not caught unprepared. And the most important thing is to remember your why. Imagine your dairy-free health results. This is what's going to help you really stick with the process. Think about how your life would be with clear skin. Think about how your life would be without all the bloating. A lot of people are saying like, oh, I want to, for my waistline to, go down. Well, a lot of it is just bloat because of what you're eating. Imagine how your life would be if you weren't tired all the time and fatigued. These are all things that you need to think about when it gets hard and you're like, oh man, I really will, want something. Focus on your why. and that's going to really help you through this process. So I hope that you guys really think about going on this process. You're going to feel so much better once, all the dairy's out of your system and you're replacing, your body with the good nutrients. You're going to feel so much better. And I can really attest to it. Like I said, I've been vegan for almost 5 years now, and I feel great. So this is something that you can do. And when you're taking, starting off with like, taking dairy out of one meal a day, and then you kind of, do a little bit more, maybe only dairy once a week to, every other week, or only on your cheats or something like that, it's going to help you prove to yourself that you can do it. And I'm here to tell you, you can do it because I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this lesson tonight. If you have any questions, please let me know. And like I said, also Google the different products. A lot of times people are like, oh no, I haven't seen that in my store. Well, you're not really looking for it. So actually take time to go and look for dairy-free products in your local stores, and I promise you'll be able to find them. All right, you guys, I will talk to you later in the community. Bye.